What is going on YouTube? We're back with another freaking banger. And in this video, what I just want to hop on here and talk about is why physical exercise is something that should be a staple in your everyday routine. And here's why. Okay, ready? Wait for it. Well, number one, I've noticed that as I've gone into more stressful periods of my life, when I had my training under control and I was training consistently, doing cardio consistently on top of my nutrition, all of those external things were not as stressful, and all of the other things going on were less apt to happen, right? So just being in a mental and physical environment where you're healthy and working on optimizing things and with your health, right? You just feel so much better, and usually leads to more calmness in life, to say the least. And I think that since getting back into consistent long distance running, which is what I've been doing as of recent, it's allowed me to really have more awareness around certain things because I think so many times in life we get caught up in, the problems. And so when you do something like long distance running, or maybe you're walking on the beach for a while, right? Whatever you're doing, when you can get into a clear headspace or you can actually think through things that don't normally pop into your mind, it's cool to be able to look back at the progress you're making, right? With not just the physical elements, but all aspects of life, right? And, as I'm out running, like this evening and any other evenings, like I just have like, you know, more of these like very clear thoughts just like pop into my brain of like what my future plans I want them to be, what that kind of looks like, um, and what I'm working towards. And it's cool when you're running and like your brain kind of just zones out away from all the problems and kind of just gets in this nice rhythm. And it's kind of the same with training, which is why I've always liked training because you can get into weights and, really just allow yourself to get lost in the moment, if you want to frame it that way. But really, that's what it is. It's like you're getting so, you know, caught up in the moment that you're appreciating all that you have, and you can think about all the possibilities that you want with your life without all the negative thought patterns because you're just in such a high vibrant state, right? And so with training with cardio, I think like it's super helpful because that's one of the things I've noticed. um, but I've also just noticed that the more time that I develop and I set aside towards my own fitness, the better my overall life gets, right? And like each time that I put more focus on other areas and try to take them away from my health, by like relaxing, things like that, sleeping more. Like I always notice that I have less energy and I'm more energetic and actually feel like I have purpose when I'm exercising more, taking care of my nutrition, waking up and like actually eating a specific way. Um, and that's the main reason I think a lot of people don't do things to stay in shape is they think that they have to be, like perfect with everything. And because they're not working on getting better with a goal, they're just kind of like comfortable or they're, maybe not happy with where they're at, but they don't want to make any changes. They, I think, tend to have less and less feelings of purpose. But when you're working towards something as like a goal, it's just such a fulfilling feeling where you can look back and say like, hey, like I just put on a bunch of muscle mass, significantly more than I've ever done in the past. Like that's a win, right? Or I just started doing long distance running and now I'm consistent with that. Or like now I can finally see my abs, right? Or now I feel confident taking my shirt off. Like certain things like this change the way you look at yourself, and that ultimately changes your life because now every other action you take is going to align with the person that you believe deep down you are. And so, if you believe yourself in a higher perception, you believe yourself to be a better person that follows through with his commitments, with his actions. Eventually, that's going to bleed over into other areas of your life. And I think that just like finding some way to a better up yourself physically and mentally is going to be the most important part, but also you're going to be able to get to that position where you can think clearly and think, without all the daily stressors coming in and out. If you take some time for exercise. So I understand a lot of people think about it as like, oh, I just can't make the time for it, or I have other things going on. But for example, imagine if you thought about it the opposite way, like I don't have much time here on earth, right? So I might as well make the most of my health. And also, if I say subtract an hour from somewhere else in my life, but that gives me more life back, a longer health span, lifespan, etc., and better quality of life. Like, isn't that something that's a no-brainer? I would say so, at least. I just think like devoting a little bit of time to training, like especially with purpose, is something that you should be doing. It's going to better you up and level you up in so many ways. And I also think like having specificity around where did you want to go and your goals is important because in the past there were times where I was just going to the gym and like as simple as that I was literally just going to the gym and I was working out, but when I was in there my mind was elsewhere and I was focused on like you know you know just kind of maintaining and like working for example on the business. So it's like, oh, I don't really have a workout plan, and all of those times I never felt like I had a lot of purpose going on in my life. It was more so like I want to get to a better position to start getting back in shape, right? Or to put my health in a better position. And I've noticed that, like, looking back on it, there's never this point where everything's perfect and you can start taking action. So, even like myself as a fitness coach, looking back and thinking, like, okay, like, there were times where I could have taken more action and stayed more consistent, but I prioritized other things in my life and let my fitness kind of take the back step. Um, was never a good move because I thought I was getting more time back, but really I was becoming less efficient and having a less quality of life, right? Like your mental and physical health just improves when you're taking care of your fitness. And so aside from that, right, when you're actually working towards developing a goal or accomplishing a milestone that you set up for yourself, it feels good working towards something like that, right? And then like also when you accomplish it, it feels great. So I think finding some sort of way where you can take time to get exercise can level up your life, not just physically, but also mentally, spiritually. And it just might give you like those ideas, right? Like those ideas you need to get your business, your career, or your relationships, or whatever, or those thoughts you need to face might come to you when you're actually in a period of calm, right? Of just ease, where it could be in your training sessions. Now, if you're listening to like screamo music and like slamming 300-400 pounds around in the gym, chalk on your hands, then it's probably going to be hard to be in a happy mood, um, especially before hitting a PR. But what I will say is, like, for the most part, like most exercise is going to give you that feeling of like accomplishment and sense of purpose. And that might carry over into other areas of your life. And I just try to inspire, motivate whoever is watching these videos. I'm super blessed to be able to talk on the channel right here, and it's something that I wanted to do for a long, long time, and I just like didn't do it because A, I didn't have the balls, right? But also B, for some reason I just didn't feel like it was like the right time. But looking back on it, it's never going to be the right time. It's only going to be easier and easier to make excuses, right? But now, like when I look back at my content and I realize, like, I'm nowhere near where I want to do, right? But like all the YouTube videos I have, it's like I have hundreds of videos. Looking back on that, it's like that's pretty cool to know that I can actually follow through with something, at least to an extent, right? And I'm still gonna stay consistent with YouTube. Do not get it twisted. But like I have plans to crank up the notch and really like just like start giving a lot of value to this channel. Um, but it's cool to be able to look back and be like, hey, like, not giving up on your goals is something that's going to actually bring you fulfillment, right? Because if you look back after a couple of years and you have a thought like, oh, I wish I started this goal sooner, there's no worries about like looking back on the past, right? Like just to kind of leave it as being like start working towards the future. But it's like if you could have gone ahead, like why not, right? Like if you could get ahead in your life, um, make changes, live a different life the way you want, why not do that, right? So I encourage you guys watching this video to start doing something out of your comfort zone, whether that's, tracking your food, tracking your calories, whether that's, weighing out the amount of portions you have. Like you don't have to be robotic with it. You can just make some small tweaks and you'll notice there will be a huge difference in your life. But maybe that's tracking your food. Maybe that's like, just getting a sense of how many calories and how much protein you're eating. That's something I advise a lot of my clients to do. Just starting off, like just get mind of these things. And then from that point, it's like, okay, like how is our water intake? How is our, cardio? Like maybe a new habit for you could be like, I'm going to start doing like daily walks or a couple each week or a couple a month. Actually, no, not a couple a month, like a couple a week. You could do that. You could do something like you're, going for a daily stroll once a day for like a half mile. Like you can start so easy. I used to do like literally up the street and back, and now it's like I'm going almost across town. So it's easy to get the habit going, right? What's hard is to get started. So like start with something though, because it's gonna make you realize that there's so much more you can do, right? And then you'll start most likely taking other actions towards other goals that you want to accomplish. So mentally level yourself up, spiritually, like read your Bible, like pray, like meditate, like do the things that you think you need to do for your life. Um, and get real on like becoming the person that you know deep down is possible of becoming, right? Um, but make sure that like you find some sort of way to optimize things. I think the best way really is just like taking care of your health, and like putting your exercise, your health, your fitness first will allow you to, like I said, get those thoughts and the vision as to where you want to go with your life, but also allow you to enjoy the life you do have. So that's just my rant for today. I think this is the second upload of this evening. I actually got back from some cardio. I was just thinking about chatting up another video to talk about, like the mental benefits and also like the feeling of working towards something and accomplishing something, which comes from exercise. I think that's something that a lot of people should also, dive deep into in the endeavor of. And like I have myself, it's been a game changer. So stay tuned for content like this. If you guys want to check out my Instagram, it's jstroudfit. I say it in probably almost every video. So if you don't have my Instagram memorized by now, um, or the fact that it's the same as my YouTube handle, then like totally cool. But that's it, jstroudfit. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for more vlog style clips just like this.